Okay. So you want to start at the beginning?
From the beginning,
Yeah. What was your task?
my task was to get 50 terminologies, put them in the spreadsheets, include objectives. I did that, but like I communicated that I was traveling, I actually forgot to move with my charger. So right now I just listed down, but I'm going to share the Excel sheet once I get to where the charger is.
Okay. And what were the terms in terms of what discipline or industry were they in?
Yes.
What were the terms related to? What industry or discipline?
They're related to business. The
So,
ones I was able to get, I got from Google, and they're provided by Asana.
okay. So it's important that you actually say, right, where they came from.
Okay.
Okay. And what they were relating to.
Okay.
Okay. And then in terms of looking over the work that we do, there are two areas that you can be working on. One is the CSR work life balance course. Did we discuss that?
Yes, we discussed that.
And were you able to go onto the website and find out more information and read more about it?
Yes, I did go to the website.
And did you find the information and read more about it?
Yes, I read about it, but I'm sorry about that.
That was kind of interesting. Okay. So you read more about it and
I read about it, but I haven't gone to Google to check more. I want to check and compare the different things. Like we said, we have to synthesize that word, synthesize.
synthesize,
Yes,
in this case, what?
the information from different places, so that we come up with something that is more related to the cause of the organization.
That's not correct. In this,
Oh, okay.
whose course is it?
The cause is the cause.
Who created the course?
You created the cause.
So, why do you need to go onto Google to find something else to compare it to what we're doing to synthesize it? You don't have to do that in this case because it's not appropriate. It doesn't have to do with the work that you're going to go ahead and do. That's what the Pomoro system is about, the work that you do. Here, you had to learn about what we offer. So there's absolutely zero reason for you to find another course on something to synthesize. Do you understand that?
I do understand.
Okay.
So I'm just going to present what I gathered from the website.
You're supposed to go ahead and read it with understanding and then ask any questions that you may have about it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to learn how to go ahead and present it properly to individuals and companies. Not everything, because that will take you way too long to learn. Okay. Sandra, you need to
Yes.
move away from the camera a little bit because all I can see is your eyes. And
Okay.
even though you have very lovely eyes, right? The thing is that you want to be more like, right, Felista is in
Okay.
terms of positioning. Uh, okay. So
Yes.
the thing is that what you're going to do is you want to have an understanding of what the objectives are for the course, what we're teaching, how we're teaching it, and what the benefits are for the company, for shareholders and stakeholders, for the employees themselves who go through the course, and how we benefit kids, people, and the planet. That's your understanding. That's what you want to know. And what you can do is you can outline those things, which is part of the Pomoro system.
Yeah.
And then you can check to see whether your outline is accurate by presenting it. But in the meantime, I'm going to give you the information that you need to outreach and present to other people. So you follow that. Okay. And your objective, did I discuss it with you before about you're going to be talking to them about doing a marketing survey?
Yes, you said we shall look for clients, give them information that we shall learn how we should communicate with them, how we should learn how to say them the right way. The communication should take around 2 minutes. Hope that's the right information. That's what I remember.
It's 2 minutes to share what we're doing and ask them if they'd like to participate in a market research survey. If they say yes, it's about 15 minutes to ask them the questions. Okay. And then you follow up when we have, right, enough information to share with them about the results of the survey and how we're doing the course. And your objective then is to invite them into the course.
Yeah.
So the next thing I want you to do, and I didn't have a chance to see your spreadsheet, so I can't give you any feedback on making that correct and more professional. We'll have to wait until you do this next step. Now, the next step is, what industries do you want to reach out to do the market research survey? You can go, one of the most ideal people to speak to are people high up in HR. Do you know what the highest level of HR is in a company?
I don't know.
Chief Human Resource Officer, CHRO. Then there's also directors of human resources, human resource managers. Okay. So now this is where you can also, whenever you don't know something, which if you're like me, I say I don't know something 100% of the time. Did you hear that? Okay. So that means that I research virtually 100% of the time. So you might think you know who the professionals are by title, in a certain industry because you went to school and you studied that industry, it's not enough for you to use your own experience in doing the work that we do. You always have to research. So I want you to research the different titles that are associated with, let's say, human resources, and you want them ranked from the highest level to the lowest level. And then when you do your research into professionals in the field, you're going to know which ones to go to. Because to talk to somebody who's a human resource coordinator or intern or whatever, they don't have the decision-making ability, and they don't have the experience to do the survey, and then they don't have the decision-making ability to put themselves in the course and have the company pay for it. It's beyond their pay grade. And they don't manage other people, so they can't bring other people into the course, not only from their department, but human resources has connections to all other departments in the company. So they can say, oh, this would be good for our management team. This would be good for our marketing team. This would be good for our business development team. So I'm going to see if I can put together a group of people who can go into the course. Are you following what I'm talking about? Nod your head if you follow.
Yes, I'm following.
Did you take notes on what I said?
I'm going to take them, but I've listened to what you said. I'm holding my phone. I'm going to note down.
Don't ask me to repeat what I said because I won't do it.
Okay, you said I look for
Don't repeat.
industries where I want.
Wait. I don't want you to repeat it to me also. Okay? You've got to come into the meetings prepared to take notes. And I don't care
Yes.
you don't have your computer because you didn't charge it and blah, blah, blah. That's not my concern. Your concern is being prepared always.
Yes.
Because when you get used to doing it, you're not going to make mistakes as many times in the future where your job might be on the line.
Yes.
Because you're not prepared for a meeting and the boss thinks you should have been.
Okay.
Okay, so write up everything before you forget. Write up as much of it as you can remember. And what I want you to do is I want you to create a contact spreadsheet. Right? I want you to research companies and see if you can find, right, the people in those companies that you can speak to. And it's not only human resources, it's some of the other titles that I just told you. Okay? Management, marketing, okay? Business development, community outreach. Okay? Think of, right? And then if you don't know, research different categories of positions in a company and say, would it be good if they took the course? Okay. And then identify, besides people who are in public, human resources, identify which industries you want to go into first. Make a list of different industries that you want to tackle first. Okay. And then you're going to let me know which those are, and I'll give you feedback on it. So you should say, okay, I'm interested in, if you're interested in the aviation industry, you have to have a reason why.
Oh, okay.
Okay. You always have to have reasons why you do things, not just because you like to fly on airplanes. Okay.
Yes.
So if you have a particular connection with a particular industry, so you feel like, oh, right, maybe my knowledge of that industry, I know people in that industry. Okay. That industry is really large. Okay. So I have a lot of sources I can go to. It's really big in my city, in my country. Okay. So there's a lot of opportunity for it. Okay. You've got to have reasons why you're doing what you're doing. Okay. So text me, right, when you have that information laid out so we can review it together.
Okay.
Okay. And you're welcome to stay on the call with Sandra because we're going to talk about, right, the project that she's working on, which is also a project management project, which I talked
Wait,
about. Yes.
I'm failing.
What?
I said I'm failing, but I'm working on it at the same time.
Yeah. Well, okay. You're not failing. We don't talk about that aspect of it unless
Okay.
unless it's actually true, which it's not. Okay. You might not be progressing as quickly as you want, but you're not failing.
Which gets me stressed out sometimes.
Yeah, well, where you don't want you to be that, and there's no reason to be stressed out. So we'll go into that. But we talked about you both weren't able to go to the meetings yesterday, but we covered the thing, Sandra, that you're working on yesterday.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'll go over that a little bit more today. Okay. So Felista, you can stay on definitely because you'll be probably working in this area as well. Okay. So, okay. Sandra, can you go back on?
I'm. You said it shouldn't be an excuse, but my computer just died, so I'm going back on.
Guys, you got to learn to charge your computers before meetings.
I think my computer is not working at all, so I need another charger.
Okay.
But I'm gonna go back on right now.
Do you have anything that you can show if you're not on your computer?
Oh no, I have to pull up my. Let me. So I don't want to give excuse, but today's going to be an excuse.
Okay. Go ahead.
It seems that when you and I spoke, and yesterday I got ready to show you what I had.
Mhm.
I did not save it.
Oh. Okay. So you need to put if you're using any type of office program or any other program, you need to put it on auto save.
Okay, I have to do
If
that.
your computer dies, you don't lose all
It
your
will
info.
automatically. Yes. Unfortunately, huh, it happened again. But I'm gonna If you can show me how to auto save, I'll really be grateful.
It's different for different computers, but generally you have for different software, but generally you have to go into preferences. When you go into preferences, you should see the option.
Okay. Okay.
And if you don't know how to do something, what do?
Google,
You research it. You say, this is the
research it.
program. How do I auto save? And you can do that in AIs all day long, and AI programs are free.
Right.
At the lower level. So always research stuff. I research how to do stuff on on different software all the time
Right.
as well.
Okay. I'm about to go on Zoom.
Okay.
It's gonna launch right now. And thank you for
Recording in progress.
oh, let me mute this. Thank you for giving me that, putting me in your schedule today. I know today was not really conducive for you, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I do have my 32. I'm going to do more than 32.
You must do more than 32.
Okay, yeah, I have to do more than 32 because not all the ones that I have, it might not be all of them have the amount that we're looking for, or even if they will say yes. So let me put my face back here.
And even some say yes and you do it, what they say might not be appropriate for what we want because they have to cover a topic that is a problem for a vast majority of people. It can't be so
Right,
specific. Okay, if so and so gets murdered, okay, that's a tremendously serious issue.
mm-hmm,
But the thing is, murder in general doesn't really impact the majority of people. Now,
right,
domestic violence does, or abuse does,
child abuse, yes,
or whatever. But the thing is, they affect literally, times a factor of 100 over murder.
right,
Okay. So it has to be something that the majority of people can experience.
okay,
Okay.
I got that. And so,
So the numbers that you should be looking at in terms of, okay, and first, Felista, to give you context, what Sandra is working on is one of the 16 Things books, but so with the 16 Things books, they all have the same major title, 16 Things We All Can Do to Act Right and Help Save the Planet. They all have different specifications, different editions. And Sandra, you're still really close. I see one eye. You're like Sauron from Lord of the Rings.
Isabel, please give me my glasses.
Okay.
I'm sorry, it's my
Okay.
glasses. Isabel, give me my glasses.
So the thing is that with the book, she's doing churches and she's doing community issues. Okay.
Right.
And Felista, can you hear what I'm saying?
Hear you. I can hear you.
Then you need to like acknowledge some things that I'm talking about during the conversation when I'm talking to you, because otherwise, right, I think that you're frozen or I think you're a zombie, and neither one are good to have a conversation with. Okay. And nodding actually is part of conversation. It's called nonverbal communication. So, what you want to explain, Sandra, so you get used to talking about this? What
I
you're, what you're
I realized that I need to start talking because I talked to somebody, a friend, and I felt like I was running sentence. So my project is writing a book of one of the 16 things that affect community.
Okay. Now I'm going to stop you when you say something that's not correct.
Okay,
And we don't get too far down the road. And
that's fine.
okay, your objective is not to write the book. You are not writing the book.
Okay.
Okay. This is like what you said earlier, right, Felista, about something. Your objective is you are, working on, developing a book, researching, right, information for a book. Okay. I'm writing the book. Okay. And if you say that you're writing a book to a friend, an acquaintance, or whatever, they're going to say, "Oh, really? Right? What's your background in that?" And you're going to say, "What? Um, what do you mean? I don't have a, I don't, and now you've already started off on the wrong foot.
So my objective is to gather information
And you don't want to say
Researching.
you don't want to say gather information because it's not professional. You're
Okay.
not doing farming. Okay. Okay. So the thing is that you can say, I'm working on developing. I'm working on. Oh, now I got to go ahead and figure out how you should say it. The organization I work for is publishing a book on, and you can give the title, and then you can say, right, and it's on specifically, right, community issues that people face. And you'll have something written that you'll be able to share with them, like a 30-second elevator talk, okay, that you'll just get used to saying over and over and over again, so that it's consistent. Okay.
So in this case, do I have to write that and present it to you?
No, because the thing is, you're not a writer and you're not going to get it correct. But the thing is, you weren't at the stage yet where you were doing outreach.
Right.
You were at the stage where you were gathering, as you said, information for your spreadsheet.
Right.
You were doing research. So the thing is, by not following the system, okay, in the order that you were supposed to do, you then felt that you didn't present it well, and that you confused yourself, you might have confused them, and that you failed at it.
Yes.
But you were never supposed to go down that route to begin with. So if you would have waited, and there's nothing wrong with being, right, proactive,
Right.
and things like that, but in business, right, and in medicine, you just because you want to do brain surgery doesn't mean you should run into OR and say, okay, I'm ready.
True.
So you've got to wait until you get the training to do what you need to do. And we have a step-by-step system that helps make you successful. But you've got to follow the system.
Okay.
Okay. So the thing is, and we say with your research, right, if you only do 32, you're not doing, you got to start with 3 times that amount. Okay.
Okay.
And when you research, you've got to research people of influence, not just people who have expertise in the area that you're doing your book on. So, Felista, you saw in the materials the book 16 Things We All Can Do to Act Right and Help Save the Planet. Yes?
Yes.
And when I talked about that in the past, and when you saw that, was there a particular area that you said, ooh, right, I think that doing a book on sustainability, I think doing a book on mental health issues, I think doing a book on education or business leadership might be interesting to do. I'd like to do that. Was there any particular subject that you wanted to do a book on?
Not yet.
Sorry?
Not yet.
Say it again.
Yes. Yeah, you are asking. You can hear me.
Continue.
Hello?
Yeah, I can't hear what you're saying properly.
Oh, you're asking whether there is a subject I would love to do, where I would love to write a book.
No, you're not writing a book. Why do people
Okay.
think that they're going to be writing a book? I don't understand that one. Okay. We're, our organization would write the book and produce the book. You would work on the people who are going to be featured in the book by doing research, by doing outreach, engagement with those people. So, is there a subject that you're interested in that you want to go ahead and work on when we produce a book?
Honestly, I haven't. I'm still getting into that I can choose.
Okay, that's
Yes.
fair enough. So think about that and go back and review the information from the websites about the 16 Things books. So you understand what they are and how they work and what the objective is for the books. Okay. So the thing is, I'll give you the framework really quick. So you've got 16 subjects that are featured in the book that people have problems with. And then we have 2 experts per issue that say why we have to solve this problem and what we need to do to solve this problem. So the books are expert reference books on a particular subject or dealing with a particular issues like community issues for families. What you would be doing is researching the experts that could possibly go into the book after they're interviewed by us with a set series of questions. Okay. And depending on how well you do, you may be the one who does the interviews or part of the interviews. In other words, when we do these interviews, we don't just ask the questions, we give the people that we're talking to, as well as our audience, the background information as to why we're asking this question so that there's context for it. And then the person answers the question on Zoom. There's a series of different questions. We only take one of the questions, like I just said, for the book. The rest of the questions get broken into social media that we can put out on the internet to publicize what we're doing for the book, as well as by helping people. So the interviews for each expert are from 20 to 30 minutes total. They're actually very short. Okay. Okay. And we need a total of 32 of them for the book. But in order to get that 32, you've got to research into minimally 150 contacts. And they just can't be experts. Let's say you went to school and you studied business. You just can't take a professor and then say, I want to interview you for this book. Because the professor might have expertise, but they're not a person of influence. So their outreach and their engagement to the public is very, very, very limited. Whereas if you went to a celebrity, an athlete, a business person who runs a big company in your country or in a different country that people would know, and you got them to be interviewed, they might have on LinkedIn 100,000 people following them. They might have on Facebook 500,000 people. And the objective is to have 32 influencers who combined can reach millions of people so that they're promoting the book. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. So the thing is, when you were doing your research, Sandra, you were researching into different leaders in churches. What was, you see, normally if you had your spreadsheet up, I'd ask you to show me your objective, right?
Right, right,
and your prompt, okay? And
right.
your prompt is called user-generated prompt. So you then take your objective, you take your user-generated prompt, you run that through AI, and you ask the AI to give you, right, a more effective prompt to fulfill your objective. Your objective here is to get a list, a research list of churches and their pastors and the number of families that they have, right?
Right.
You know, when was the church established, whatever, you know, whatever the case, whatever the criteria is,
Mm-hmm.
and put that into
My
a
spreadsheet.
spreadsheet
Right.
that you can copy. And then you can also go to Google. And when you research in Google, you don't want to research individual churches. That's going to take you forever. You want to find where someone else has done research and created a list or a directory of churches with the right information, like number of families or something like that. Okay. So you would put into your prompt, right? You know, something that has the word directory. You want to find a directory of churches. You want to find a list of churches.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you find those, you want to open up a bunch of them and look at the information and see if it's presented in depth the way that you want it. Because it might just be a list of churches and then there's no pastors and then it's worthless. Or there's churches and pastors, but there's no phone numbers or emails. And then there's no URLs.
Mm-hmm.
So there's basic things that you need to make connections that you want to see in that directory. Okay.
Right.
And you just can't assume that, hey, this directory is, I mean, this church is large enough where it's going to be worth it for us to interview the pastor in order to have the objective that we want in terms of numbers. Because
Right.
the goal is that the church use this as a fundraiser and they sell more than 10 books. Okay. We want that to sell, 500 books, 1,000 books. Okay. If you have 32 churches, right, represented in the book, and they put it into their church network, not just their single church. Okay. But they put it into their church network, right?
Right.
It's highly possible that they do 1,000 books or more, especially since money goes back to the church for their own programs as well. So the thing is that imagine if each one did an average of 2,000 and you got 32 churches. Plus, you're putting the church in drugstores, in libraries, in the community. So already you're up to 64,000 books.
Right.
And you might be able to hit 100,000 books, which, right, means that you might have a readership of 500,000 people for the book, which means
Right.
you might have 250,000 people going through the free workshops,
Which is a good thing.
which is a fantastic thing. Because what happens with the church is they got the same people coming to congregations and doing the same stuff.
Right.
And they really need to expand it for the benefit of people and the community
Mm-hmm.
and the church itself. Okay. So that's the goal. You want to continue to do your research. You want to
Yes.
show me the results of this. Then I'm going to give you the next step, which is how to do your outreach, right?
Right.
To the pastor directly, or to someone in their organization, so that you can get permission to do the interview.
Okay.
And we're going to go over, right, the interview questions, and we're going to go over, if you're doing, let's say, the background and the questions both, right, how you actually say those, because you have to be trained on how to say them, because just like actors, Nicole Kidman wasn't born doing her lines the way that she needed to do them in order to get paid $20 million for a film.
True.
She had to learn how to develop them.
Yes.
Okay. And you've got to learn, right, how to go ahead and do that also.
Right.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it all makes sense. I don't do anything, I'm sorry, Sandra, if it doesn't make sense. Okay.
Okay.
So the thing is that by going through this in stages, actually, you then have time to increase your skills in each of the different areas. Because if I give you all of this at once, you are going to be completely overwhelmed. And you're not going to be able to handle any of it. And you're going to break down and say, I can't do this.
Right. I got that.
So I give it to you in stages. You start to master the stage, and then I bring in the other aspect. And then you're working on both. You try to master those. And the thing is that it's okay to not get it right 100% of the time. It's okay where you screw it up the first 3 times you make phone calls, and then by the 4th time you get half of it right. And then you review what you did, and then by the 6th time you get 3/4 of it right, and then finally by the 10th time you're really comfortable doing it right. They've gone ahead and said all their stuff to you, so, and then you've gotten feedback on how you answer those things properly, but now you're confident because you have answers to those things, even though we have frequently asked questions and it tells you how to answer those things. You still might not be able to follow it initially and do it conversationally. So it just takes time. But the thing is, when you follow the system, you'll be amazed about how little time it takes for you to get to a higher level, because of the system, as well as what we put into the system. So you don't have to go ahead and learn everything about all the different community issues to do the book. You don't have to become an expert in all those things. Okay. You don't have to know anything about any of them, but you do have to do our system and our framework, so that the experts themselves can plug in the information, and then I review, I go through their stuff, I write the collateral material and everything else. So you don't have to worry about any of.
I think that's the problem I'm doing, but I'm thinking I'm always doing that. I need to focus on now what I'm doing now.
That's absolutely correct. Okay.
Okay.
And when you learn that system and you learn breaking it down into XYZ components, then you're going to be able to teach the system in this context to other people, because we want you to be management, leadership, right, Felista?
Right.
Yes.
So the thing is that there's different components to that. There's you training other people, and it's called train the trainer. And then also you training other individuals who just want to do the system to be successful.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
The more you do, the more successful you're going to be. And then what you didn't see, which you will when I give you the videos for yesterday's call, is that I developed another avenue for us to go ahead and engage people who want to be working with our organization, for them to be successful in, let's say, doing the books. But then also there's a compensation system built into it. So the thing is that you'll be able to go ahead and learn and do what I'm talking about. And there'll be, like I told you before, there's a compensation system that when you're successful based on your performance, right, my organization will pay you. But there's another way that I just created literally 2 days ago. And now I've started to write it up. And it's going to be a contest-driven system where people are able to put together teams or join teams. And if their objective is to put together a book, okay, or to have a 16 Things book done, then they have a time frame that they need to do this in. The
Right.
shorter the time frame for developing the research for the book and then getting sponsorship and distribution, and then people using the book and going into workshops, the more their team gets rewarded financially. Okay.
Okay.
The longer it takes for them to do the book, the less they'll receive.
I understand that.
And when they go ahead and do, see, now let me show you just real quick. I told you I was working on this a little bit. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, I can.
Yes, I can say.
Okay. Let me do one thing first. Okay, so first of all, what I did was I laid out the structure of what we're doing. So it's a cash reward performance contests. Okay. Then there's a program introduction. One Planet One People is offering interns and volunteers a groundbreaking opportunity to enhance their career skills, make a positive impact in the world, and earn up to $10,000 in team rewards. Okay, team size from 4 to 12 people. Okay, you can sign up individually, and you can start when the team size is 3 or more. The start dates are either the 1st or the 15th of the month, beginning June 1st. And then the program includes 1 hour program orientation. Okay, and the objectives, 1 hour onboarding and procedures, 2 1 hour project management training workshops, ongoing career training with the 8 essential foundation skills, 2 1 hour team training sessions weekly, and 3 30-minute training sessions weekly. So this is what's included in their package. Now, the difference is that for this program, people who join are going to pay an initial administrative fee for joining because we only want serious people in the program.
Right.
Okay. If people can join and just leave and there's no consequence, right?
Right.
Then it just hurts the organization. So they come for 2 weeks, they get the project management training and then leave. That doesn't benefit anybody else other than the person. And normally they'd pay thousands of dollars for this type of training. So we're going to have something that's reasonable. If the person can't afford it, they can ask for a scholarship or a grant. And they've got to provide reasons for that and blah, blah, blah. Okay, then there's a quick step guide. So they're going to choose which quality of life program they want to do. They develop or join a team. They learn and implement our proprietary project management system. They work with the team to achieve the goals. They earn recognition and rewards based on their achievements. They can earn up to 10,000 in cash grants per team. And you can choose from over a dozen groundbreaking transformative programs, including CSR, ESG, SDG, and quality of life for kids, people, and the planet. So the benefits are performance-based compensation, name and completed book, certificate of completion, portfolio development, letter of recommendation, resume update and review, career track benefits, project management training, essential 8 foundation skills training, material included, project management outline, timeline, milestones, handbook, project management team map, and the one book. Opportunities, non-credit and for-credit internships, OPT, that's international internships, volunteer management, career opportunities, career development, right? US and global work opportunities, US and global management opportunities for the people who go through. And then the programs, 16 things we all can do to act right and help save the planet, special edition books and workshops. That's the one that you're working on. CSR work-life balance course and programs, heart and education school programs, right? And then the list of individual programs, the Great Peace Plan, prison reform, STEP classroom program integration, STEP in sports, the Peace Portal, right? Hotel and airlines loyalty programs. These are just some of the individual programs that we have, and they can choose what they want to work on.
Right.
And then steps to success. So step 1, right, application acceptance and onboarding, and then preliminary video, which you've already seen, complete initial background survey, watch the program, right, introductions video, complete the application, watch getting started video, complete the onboarding. Then program and project management, watch the procedures video. So there's all these different steps, right? Behavioral action, teamwork, and enhanced skill development. Okay, then there's qualitative and quantitative in terms of how we go ahead and handle that. And then transformative career opportunities. So people would go through all these steps in the course of what they're doing. And then here's the other thing. Okay. So what I talked about before is, right, you've got 4 months to complete your book. The faster you do it, the more your team can earn. But the earnings are also how many books are sponsored. So if you complete your tasks for doing the book, but the sponsorship is of 25,000 or more books, right, your team gets 3,000. If your sponsors produce right 100,000 books, then you get $10,000 for your team. And then there's also non-sponsors book that are sold. So depending on how many books are sold in the first 6 months, right, that determines what your team will get. And then, right, you also have to have a certain number of people going through workshops. Then this is an illustration for, right, if it takes you 1, 2, or 3 months to produce your book, right, a total of 6 months to do book sales and everything else, and you have 10 team members, 6 team members, right, your income from the book, from the sponsorship, from miscellaneous income would be for your team at these levels. But for individuals, this is what your potential income may be. Okay. Because here, if you're doing a book in 1 month, you have the opportunity to do 4 different projects in that 4-month period, that 6-month period. Okay. Whereas if it's taking you 4 months to do a book, you really only have 1 project that you can do.
Hmm.
So the faster your team and the better your team works, the more money you can earn. And this is a variable team length or size. This is based on an average number of 6 people in each team. So the thing is, right, if you have a team with 6 people and you actually do 4 projects during that 6-month period, each team member could earn over $11,000. Okay. And that's not bad considering that you're just volunteering or you're interning. Okay. So you can see a little bit, right, about how I go ahead. And this is just background information. This is how I set up, how I go ahead and do. And then, right, when I do my design information, we'll have to wait for Zoom to come up. Really ridiculous as well. Okay, so let's do it a different way. Okay. So this is what, right, the finished product will look like in the book. Each person who's interviewed will get a 2-page spread. If you imagine there's a line right down the middle, okay, where everything from the yellow to the left is on one page, everything on the right is on another page, right? They get their photo in the book, they get their achievements, any, specialized things that they've done. The interview section will be here underneath their name and, what their title and background is. They can have the social media for their church as well as themselves in the book, and they have a background. So it's very complete so that people who are reading this, they know what the person's right credibility is, okay? And if they want to talk to them directly, they have their social media where they can outreach. They don't get their personal phone number and email, okay? But they can still contact them. And then in the course of them reading the book with their team in a One Planet, One People workshop, they can form into smaller groups to take action on any of the things that these featured experts talk about in terms of what's the problem and what can be the solution. Okay. So that's what, right, part of the content will look like in the book. Okay. But then we also develop a lot of collateral material.
Right.
Let's see if this thing can come up. Come on. So slow. See, I'm still waiting for the cursor to stop. This is Adobe. And if I quit it, okay. So two things is going on here. Okay. So this is a media kit that could go out to featured experts so they can understand more about what we're doing. But also there's ones that go out to sponsors. So, right, we have global social responsibility engagement and action programs built on the principles of civility, equality, diversity, inclusion, sustainability. In other words, quality of life for all. Okay. So then even to companies or to people who are featured experts, we say, become a leader in the revolution that will change the world forever. And what are the benefits for your organization? Okay. And we can do anywhere from 20,000 books up to 100,000 books. This is you'll have a media kit that might be different than this. But for the churches, we're going to feature all the church leaders, right, on the cover of the book. Okay, so all the pastors on the cover of the book. And then if we did 100,000 books with 500,000 in circulation, right? That's a branding package for the company that sponsors it. That's equal of $33 million. And this is where the book will be distributed to all these places in the second tier. It increases their branding, marketing, media, publicity, philanthropy, and revenue. Right? Their CEO can have their name on the cover. They'll get a forward in the book. They'll get 8 full pages in color in the book for their company. Okay. There can be over 1 million engagements from people with the book, from participants to memberships to volunteers, ambassadors, throughout like the different programs that are featured. And it works for greater corporate social responsibility, and it benefits their HR initiatives as well in their company through these things. There's optional benefits as well that they can take advantage of. Okay. And then how we do our outreach and engagement is through all of these methods down here. So when it becomes appropriate, you'll get the kit so you can learn more. But the thing is that you don't necessarily have to start off going through this with sponsors. We're going to make it very simple. Okay. So you don't have to explain everything because you're not the expert yet. But you have to start to learn about how to present these things. And you'll have a video to talk about it, right? How we deal with all 17 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. What the benefits are to the company by partnering with us in doing these books. These are collaborative books. Okay. So that goes into the benefits. And then the books themselves outline the problems, and then they outline the solutions. And the workshop, and okay, so this is additional things on what they get, just broken down into a different way. And then the workshops that come out of the books that are free. What are the format for the workshops, and what are the things that people can learn from the workshops? So, unlike taking $1 million and putting it into Time magazine for their organization, where literally 90% of the people don't even see it, because they're flipping through the pages, and once they pass it, they don't go back and say, oh, what did I miss? They throw the magazine on their coffee table, and then 3 weeks later, they throw it in the trash, taking the advertising dollars with it. This is a reference book, okay, with 32 featured experts, with solutions to problems. People don't throw out reference books. They save them, they use them. When I had my meeting and event planning company, I produced a book that was sold in bookstores. And we would do a new edition every 2+ years. People would call us up and say, oh, I have your book. I'd like help with X, Y, and Z. And we'd say, okay, what edition do you have? They'd go to the front of the book, they'd look, right? And they'd say, oh, I have the edition that was done in whatever the year is. People were calling us from the first edition of the book that was done 10 years earlier. And I've done magazines on the newsstand. So I know actually the difference between how people use the books versus magazines. Okay.
I understand.
And then some demographics, our partners and supporters, where we appear in the news, right? What media outlets, right, have talked about our programs. And then, right, there's different ways that we have fee structures for organizations. So I'm not going to go into this now, okay? But you'll learn about this later on, okay, as well.
Okay.
So and this is only part of the material. There's lots more material. Okay. And then
Okay.
there's also a lot of different kits that we have. Later, you'll have your own digital business card, okay, for what we're doing. Okay. So, okay. So that's enough for now. But one of the things that we do talk about all the time, I talk about is, right, the books are designed also to help institutions with their outreach and engagement. Another way to say that is, right, their corporate social responsibility. Normally, in a company or organization, their traditional CSR benefits the organization first.
Right.
And then it may benefit shareholders and stakeholders. When they partner with us, we have 4 different groups that we benefit. And you always have to know what they are and the order that you say them. We benefit your organization. We benefit your shareholders and stakeholders. We benefit your employees and contractors while we are benefiting kids, people, and the planet. So the thing is, we help you boost your ESG, SDG, CSR, HR, PR, branding, and ROI while building greater loyalty and trust. So if you want to know, right, who our programs benefit, this is it.
Okay.
Okay. So I've gone over a lot of stuff.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I hope it was informative, instructive. Okay.
It is.
Any questions on anything that I went over now?
For me, I just know that I just have to take my time. I am rushing in my head. And so I'm just gonna meet with you again to give you my spreadsheet and my objectives with the prompts, and we can go from there.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Yes. Everything else is secondary matter.
Right. And you learn a little bit at a time so you get more and more comfortable.
Yes. And I apologize that I did not save it, but I'm going to do the autosave so it doesn't happen again.
Right. And, the more times you do things also, the better off you are, even if it's sometimes repetitive. Okay. Calista, any questions?
I don't have any questions, but I want to appreciate for creating some time today because it's not part of the schedule. Thank you so much for coming through today.
You're welcome. Thank you. And right now I get to go back to my work. So that's also good.
Okay. I will reach out by Monday.
Sure.
Thank you.
That sounds good. Listen, have a good rest of your weekend.
You too.
And if you have any questions between now and when we speak, you can always text me.
Oh, don't forget to send me the video, please.
That will be later tonight when I've got to convert it and I've got to do all crap. And it's a pain in my butt, but I'll do it.
Thank you.
And I'll send you the link as well, Calista.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.